Welcome to Mad Hatter's Civil War History, where we explore the history of the Civil War, the heroes who fought in it, and the unsung heroes who made a difference. In our history videos, we'll take a deep dive into the causes of the war, the major battles, and the key figures who shaped the conflict. We'll also explore the impact of the war in the United States, both during and after the war. In our heroes videos, we'll profile the men and women who fought for their respective causes, both on the battlefield and on the home front. We'll learn about their courage, their sacrifice, and their legacy. And in our Unsung Heroes videos, we'll shine a light on the people who often get overlooked, but who played a vital role in the war effort. We'll learn about their stories of courage, determination, and resilience. Whether you're a Civil War buff, a Johnny Reb, or a Billy Yank, or you're just interested in learning more about this important period in American history, we hope you'll join us on our journey through Mad Hatter's Civil War history. In today's video, we focus on the 15th Alabama. The 15th Alabama is most famous for being the regiment that confronted the 20th Maine on Little Round Top during the Battle of Gettysburg on July 2nd, 1863. After several ferocious assaults, the 15th Alabama was ultimately able to dislodge the Union troops, but was eventually forced to retreat in the face of a desperate bayonet charge led by the 20th Maine's commander, Colonel Joshua L. Chamberlain. This assault was recreated in Ronald F. Maxwell's 1993 film, Gettysburg. The 15th Alabama Volunteer Infantry Unit was organized at Fort Mitchell, Alabama in 1861, with 11 companies recruited from Barbour, Dale, Henry, Macon, Pike, and Russell counties. The stated mission of the 15th Alabama was the defense of their homes and way of life from feared invasion from the northern states. With over 900 men, the regiment was moved into East Tennessee and then Virginia. It joined the main army near Manassas and was brigaded with the 21st Georgia, 21st North Carolina, and 16th Mississippi Regiments under Major General G.B. Crittenden of Kentucky. When the army moved over to Yorktown, the 15th remained on the Shenandoah in Major General Thomas J. Stonewall Jackson's division to participate in the Valley Campaign. It was engaged with slight loss at Front Royal and Winchester, but it lost 9 killed and 33 wounded out of 425 engaged at Cross Keys. Moving over to Richmond and Jackson's flank attack against Union Major General George B. McClellan, the 15th entered the First Battle of Cold Harbor with 412 men and lost 34 killed and 110 wounded. The regiment suffered slightly at Malvern Hill on 1st of July. It was engaged at Hazel River and at Manassas Junction, with a loss of 6 killed and 22 wounded. The 15th Alabama participated in the Second Battle of Manassas, losing 21 and 91 wounded out of 440 men engaged. At Chantilly, the regiment lost another 4 killed and 14 wounded and took part in the investment of Harper's Ferry with trivial loss. At Sharpsburg, of 300 men engaged, 9 were killed and 75 were wounded. Under the fire at Fredericksburg on the 15th of December, the regiment had casualties of 1 killed and 34 wounded. The 15th Alabama was placed in the Alabama Brigade under General Evander McLaws on 19 January 1863. On detached duty at Suffolk until May, the regiment lost 4 killed and 18 wounded. Then it was on to Gettysburg. During the Battle of Gettysburg, the 15th Alabama and the rest of Law's brigade formed part of Major General John B. Hood's division, which was a part of Lieutenant General James Longstreet's corps. Arriving on the field late in the evening on July 1st, the 15th played no appreciable role in the contest's first day. This changed on the 2nd, as General Robert E. Lee had ordered Longstreet to launch a surprise attack with his 2 divisions against the Federal flank and their positions atop Cemetery Hill. During the course of this engagement, which was launched late in the afternoon on July 2nd, the 15th Alabama found itself advancing over rough terrain on the eastern side of the Emmitsburg Road, which combined with fire from the 2nd U.S. sharpshooters at nearby Sliders Farm to compel Law's brigade to detour around the Devil's Den and over the Big Round Top toward Little Round Top. During this time, the 15th was under constant fire from Federal sharpshooters, and the regiment became temporarily separated from the rest of the Alabama Brigade as it made its way over Big Round Top. Little Round Top, which dominated the Union position on Cemetery Ridge, was initially unoccupied by Union troops. Union Commander Major General George Meade's chief engineer, Brigadier General Gouverneur K. Warren, had climbed the hill on his superior's orders to assess the situation there. He noticed the glint of Confederate bayonets in the hill's southwest and realized that a Southern attack was imminent. Warren's frantic cry for reinforcements to occupy the hill was answered by Colonel Strong Vincent, commanding the 3rd Brigade of the 1st Division of the Union 5th Corps. Vincent rapidly moved the 4 regiments of his brigade onto the hill, only 10 minutes ahead of the approaching Confederates. Under heavy fire from Southern batteries, Vincent arranged his 4 regiments atop the hill, with the 16th Michigan to the northwest, then proceeding counterclockwise with the 44th New York, the 83rd Pennsylvania, and finally, at the end of the line on the southern slope, the 20th Maine. With only minutes to spare, Vincent told his regiments to take cover and await the inevitable Confederate assault. He specifically ordered Colonel Joshua L. Chamberlain, commanding the 20th Maine at the extreme end of the Union line, to hold his position to the last man. Were Chamberlain's regiment to be forced to retreat, the other regiments on the hill would be compelled to follow suit, and the entire left flank of Meade's army would be in serious jeopardy, possibly leading them to retreat and give the Confederates their desperately needed victory at Gettysburg. In their attack on Little Round Top, the 15th Alabama would be joined by the 4th and 47th Alabama Infantry and by the 4th and 5th Texas Infantry Regiments. All these units were thoroughly exhausted at the time of the assault, having marched in the July heat for over 20 miles prior to the actual attack. Furthermore, the canteens of the Southerners were empty, and Laws did not give them time to refill them. Approaching the Union line on the crest of the hill, Law's men were thrown back by the Union's first volley and withdrew briefly to regroup. The 15th Alabama repositioned itself further to the right, attempting to find the Union left flank, which, unbeknownst to it, was held by Chamberlain's 20th Maine. Chamberlain, meanwhile, had detached Company B of his regiment and elements of the 2nd Sharpshooters, ordering them to take a concealed position behind a stone wall 150 yards to the east, hoping to guard against a Confederate envelopment. Seeing the 15th Alabama shifting around his flank, Chamberlain ordered the remainder of the 385 men to form a single line. The 15th Alabama charged the Maine troops, only to be repulsed by furious rifle fire. Chamberlain next ordered the southernmost half of his line to refuse the line, meaning that they formed a new line at an angle to the original force to meet the 15th Alabama flanking maneuver. Though it endured incredible losses, the 20th Maine managed to hold through 5 more charges by the 15th over a 90-minute period. In later years, Oates would assert that the 15th Alabama's assault had failed because no other Confederate regiment appeared in support of his duties during the attack. He insisted that if but one other regiment had joined his attack on the far left of the Union Army, they would have swept the 20th Maine from the hill and turned the Union flank, which would have forced Meade's whole left wing to retire. However, Oates also paid tribute to the courage and tenacity of his enemy when he wrote, "There never were harder fighters than the 20th Maine men and their gallant colonel. His skill and persistency and the great bravery of his men saved Little Round Top and the Army of the Potomac from defeat." Chamberlain, in turn, extolled the bravery of his Alabama foes when he later wrote, "These were manly men, whom we could befriend, by no means kill, if they came our way in peace and goodwill." The 15th Alabama spent the remainder of the Battle of Gettysburg on the Confederate right flank, helping to secure it against Union cavalry and sharpshooters. It took no part in Pickett's charge on July 3rd. Out of 644 men engaged from the 15th Alabama at the Battle of Gettysburg, the regiment lost 72 men killed, 190 wounded, and 81 missing. The 15th suffered lightly at Battle Mountain and transferred to the west in Braxton Bragg's army and fought at Chickamauga, where it lost 19 killed and 123 wounded out of 425 engaged. In the fierce fights at Brown's Ferry, Lookout Valley, and Knoxville, the 15th suffered more losses. In 1864, the 15th took 450 men in the fight at Wilderness, Spotsylvania, Hanover Courthouse, Second Battle of Cold Harbor, and the defense of Petersburg, losing severely, dwindling its ranks. The 15th took part in the subsequent severe fighting and surrendered with just 170 men at Appomattox. Of the 1,633 on the rolls, over 260 fell in battle, 440 died in the service, 231 were transferred or discharged. It's your history. Learn it, know it, and love it.